So yeah, I've been watching wrestling since 2006. I've enjoyed great years. I've enjoyed terrible years, and
haven't we all?
oh
Yes.
my God! So tonight really brought me back to maybe 2009.
Yeah.
Around those were the dark ages. And
I was hoping for a Raw, and we were talking about this when we were watching Raw, in that the worst Raw of 2010 was that Power to the People or Viewer's Choice is what it was called.
Night.
By far one of the worst episodes of Raw, not only of 2010, but in my recent memory, or at least one of the worst Raws I've ever seen as a wrestling fan. And that being said, that Raw closed with one of the best angles I've seen in years, with the Nexus debut and all that awesome stuff that kicked off the summer of 2010, the summer of the Nexus. Now, tonight was none of that. We didn't get Cena turning heel on the Wyatts in a big double turn. We didn't get the return of CM Punk. We didn't get the return of Kurt Angle. We got John Cena burying, and I don't use that term all that much, but I think it is proper. I think you can use it in this case here. I think it's applicable. In this context, absolutely. That he single-handedly buried the Wyatt family tonight.
Well, my main beef with the Raw that we just witnessed hours ago is that I don't need the shock value. I don't need Cult of Personality going off. I don't need Kurt Angle's music hitting. I don't need John Cena turning heel on the Wyatts. Honestly, I feel that at the time period we're in right now, we don't need a Raw like that. We're weeks away from Night of Champions, so we don't need any huge momentum leading up to that pay-per-view. We just need a nice, steady, well-paced, logical Raw, and we didn't even get that. The matches made no sense. The
booking themselves didn't make any sense.
The bookings made no sense. The promos were overexposed as long as some of the superstars. And just nitpicking here, the cameramen were so god-awful.
Oh my God, the camera team.
For those of you paying $9.99 to watch the WWE Network, in 30 days, go back and check the August 25th edition of Raw. And I want you to count. You're going to need about 3 hands to count how many camera botches they made, just not getting the shots that the producers intended. I mean, Jerry Lawler, just to name a few. Jerry Lawler,
Nikki Bella.
We didn't even see him get slapped. We didn't see Stardust hit his cross body outside the ring. John Cena, how he always talks to the cameraman before he goes down the ring.
Well.
We got his back.
We got his back. And the towel, that was it.
I know the budget cuts are eating away at the WWE, but they have to have some competent cameramen there.
They must have been up all night writing the show, and they must have been exhausted as all hell, because I can't come up with a logical excuse as to why that show was so bad. The camera angling was horrendous. And it's not just tonight thing. It's not just a one-night-only thing. This has been going on for a while. It was just more evident tonight than it has ever been in a long time. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And not only to cap that off as well, you were the one that caught this. Bray Wyatt, okay, one of the leading heels in the company, being taken out by the medic at the fucking end of the show. It was like I was watching a house show.
You can go to the end of the show, and on camera, after John Cena, of course, talks to the 5-year-olds at ringside, you can legitimately see Bray Wyatt out of character, not only being taken out by the ringside doctor, but having his arm around the ringside doctor as if they were buddies, and as if Bray Wyatt wasn't the Eater of Worlds. It's unprofessional, really. And I get if you strike out with a couple of Raws. I mean, no, not every Raw is going to be great. Not every Raw can be great. But when you're making unprofessional errors like that, it becomes hard to swallow. It really does. And just going along with what you were saying, that Raws historically, going into the fall season, are not always great. But we're not looking for the greatness, we're looking for the steadfast programming that we've been getting all summer. And really, I've told people countless times, I'm so proud of what the WWE produced this past summer. And now that we are heading out of the summer into the fall pay-per-views, Night of Champions, Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series, TLC, now that we're getting into that season, I mean, I'm really anticipating that the product is going to start winding down, as it should. But, I mean, tonight there was no excuse for tonight. The only assumption that I can make as far as why the hell they put what they put on television tonight...
Whatever you want to call
is that Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon assumed that the Emmys were going to take all the ratings tonight and that he had no shot at pulling any of the viewership. And he just said, the hell with it, I'm going to put out whatever I want. That includes Los Matadores going over Slater and the Gator. That includes Mark Henry and Big Show running down to John Cena's aid in the worst pairing I've ever seen in my entire
2014,
life.
Big Show was headlining Raw.
Oh my God! What else does that include? That includes Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, and Ric Flair being used at the start of the show. Not only being used in the start of the show, but being used poorly as they were rambling, not really making any coherent sense.
And being replayed 4 or 5 times over the course of the show. 4 or 5 times.
Apparently, we can't kill 20 minutes with a match. We need to show the same promo 4 or 5 times.
We can't get a Hulk Hogan backstage segment with like a Jack Swagger or Shawn Michaels talking to John Cena or something, one-on-one.
We can't get Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Biggie Langston. Not even a promo, not a backstage, just camera shot of them just together. No, instead we get Kofi Kingston versus Bo Dallas and a 3-minute squash. And to the camera crew's credit, the one time they actually caught a bump, it was when Bo Dallas slipped on the second rope. All right, so they really have to work on their camera spots. They really do. I miss Sim Snuka from WrestleMania 25. He was a better cameraman than what we got right now.
That is. Quote that, folks, at Yo by Design, John Nichols saying that the cameraman from WrestleMania 25 for Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, Sim Snuka, a.k.a. the nameless cameraman, was better than any cameraman that we have in WWE right now, and I could not agree more with that. That's not the worst of it all. I think the worst part of Raw, aside from the burial of the Wyatt family tonight, was the holding hands in the womb, and I wish you were dead in the womb before you came out of it.
That was tasteless. That was absolutely tasteless. I mean, I get that you're trying to really showcase Nikki and Brie's rivalry as the next big Divas rivalry. I mean, you literally just came off one of the biggest Divas angles ever. Brie, Stephanie McMahon, now you're trying to translate that into Brie and Nikki Bella. And I get that. But that was the most tasteless, unentertaining, morbid thing I've ever watched on WWE. Not only did Nikki just cross the line several times, but the acting was... people really... Brie got a lot of heat, was it about a week ago, when she left the ring crying. And I could forgive her for that. Tonight, her crying, her weeping, her inability to make any offensive maneuver towards her sister, who's just burying her verbally. She had no desire to make any offense in any capacity. All right, so Brie Bella's just going to stand there and cry. That's her new character. It's Crybaby Brie.
Yeah.
Brie baby. So we go from Stephanie McMahon, Brie Bella, calling each other a bitch, getting each other arrested, just great.
Closing the show twice.
Cutting edge content. And then we go, we held hands in the womb.
That was great.
I wish you died in the womb. Oh, when we were younger, you stole all my boyfriends. Oh my God.
I thought last week was bad. This was even worse.
Yeah, I can't deal. And then you got
and then you got the match. Well, we'll get to Jericho's absence in a second, but the eventual match between Nikki and Brie is what fears me. The promos are worse enough. Their acting is terrible. But neither of them haven't. They both improved. I'll give them that. But they're not an AJ Lee. They're not a Paige. And that feud has really jumped the shark, too, with the whole lesbian bullshit. Like, it makes no sense at this point in time. I love you, hugging her, and leaving. Like, that really took a turn for the worse tonight, too. Everything was bad.
No, it was terrible. And the thing about Nikki and Brie, really quick, just finishing my point, is that these girls have turned face and heel countless times on each other.
Yes.
They've been in the company this is their 6th year in the company.
Yes.
So they've been...
Well, and consecutively,
but since 2008, they've been with the WWE.
Yes.
And they've been trying to reinvent themselves. I mean, if you remember WrestleMania 28...
the John Laurinaitis thing. The third time they've split up, by the way, was this past Sunday.
And that didn't even matter to me. But SummerSlam 2014, was the first time that WWE actually pulled off a Diva split. And
that I cared about.
I was emotionally invested in it. And now you're leading us from the promised land back into slavery in Egypt. You got, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who says I wish you died in the womb? I can't even imagine.
I felt so uncomfortable watching
how many mothers that have experienced something of that nature who just turn the television off
in a PG environment.
That is not even PG. That's tasteless in a PG in a TV 14.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's PG. The fact that it is PG makes it that much worse. But even something like that wouldn't fly on the Attitude Era. You know what I mean? Makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. In Jericho's absence, maybe he's out doing with Fozzy, which is okay, but we had no indication of that. Like, I didn't read before tonight's Raw by, like, Dirt Sheets or whatever that Because Jericho put out his schedule for Raw, or for his wrestling shows, months ago. Like, when he came back, he said, here are the dates I'm going to be working. And I've never read, I have yet to read, I don't know, maybe he wasn't supposed to be at tonight's show. We didn't get a promo, we didn't get anything. At least last week we got a backstage segment with him talking about his match with Wyatt. There was no furthering that feud whatsoever. And I don't know if it's done. They never interacted with each other last week. I don't know if Jericho, I know he's staying until Night of Champions.
I was going to say that, as many as you have heard, that Chris Jericho will be here until Night of Champions. So now that Bray Wyatt has kind of like moved away from the Chris Jericho feud, or so we can assume, I don't know what there's left to do. I mean, we saw that Randy Orton is going to be on the highlight reel next week.
He wasn't even on tonight's show either.
Randy freaking Orton, where are ya?
It makes no sense.
I mean, maybe Chris Jericho is going to do a 3-week program with Randy Orton, which I can't even see that unless... I mean, now that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins are intertwining, I can't see Roman Reigns interrupting the highlight reel next week. I can only imagine that instead of Codebreaker and RKO. Mm-hmm. So I really don't know what... I wish... Going into SummerSlam, going into any pay-per-view this summer, there was a clear angle. You knew what you were going to see, and you were excited because you were going to see it. I have no idea what I'm going to see right now, and I'm not excited for that. And it's a testament not only to how well we were doing these past 3-4 months, but to how scary this time of year gets going into WrestleMania season and
the football too, the football season and the ratings decline. You think they would put forth their strongest content, but it's always quite the obvious. Well, like you just said with the Emmys thing, they figured, okay, we're not going to get the ratings, so let's just put forth this shit, and let's not even care. Let's not even attempt to try to put forth a good wrestling show. And that's what we got tonight.
And knowing the character and the ideology of Mr. McMahon, there's no way he would have ever said, all right, we're not getting the ratings, let's put on bullshit. I'm thinking someone, and this is what really saddens me, is that someone legitimately presented the script for tonight's show. Like, it could have been last week, it could have been tonight for all.
It could have been at 7:59.
They presented the script for tonight's show, and someone approved it. That's what's not only saddens me, but scares me the most. That someone literally checked off tonight's segments, tonight's matches, tonight's promos, and literally said, this is what we're putting on the air. This is what we're going to do for August 25th. 2014. And that's what scares me the most.
If I was Chris Jericho, I would be disgusted. I just put over Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam. 8 days later, this guy's... like I said before, I don't throw this word around much like a lot of people do, but I think it applies to this situation. The entire Wyatt family was absolutely buried tonight. And at what cost? At what expense of Cena? I mean, the guy... You would think I would have been fine had they had... Wyatt win or Cena win, then go crazy on the Wyatt family. He didn't go crazy. He delivered a few AAs and an SCF.
Went out to the audience, shook the hands of 5-year-olds. I mean, there was...
Makes no sense. There's no consistency.
What WWE doesn't do consistently, like you said, the word is consistently, is they don't portray character development as well as they should. John Cena, who we all know has been the same character since he got over in 2005, with a couple minor character development changes, but he's been the same character since 2005. So, what you should do to generate interest, I'm not even talking about a full-blown heel turn, but give John Cena a chair, for God's sakes. Give him a chair. He's mad. He's a 15-time champ. He's mad he got German suplex 16 times. He's mad he got squashed in 16 minutes.
No-sold the injuries tonight as well.
He should be angry, embarrassed even, about what took place 8 nights ago. And not only was he not embarrassed, he no-sold injuries, like you said. He's off prancing around, having a great time with Big Show and Mark Henry. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense, Graham. I mean, you and I are partial to SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. We love playing that game. We take it seriously from time to time.
Yes, we do.
We consider ourselves pretty damn good bookers.
Beast bookers.
If we had the
hashtag it.
If we had the resources, we'd have a damn good wrestling promotion under our belt. And I'm just thinking, when we started playing this game years ago, we could have booked a better show in our fucking sleep. And for self-image issues, I don't like dropping F-bombs. I don't like swearing that much anymore. I'm not in the privacy of my own home, sure. Not on there. I'm saying tonight's Raw fucking sucked, and I want my $9.99 back.